Hi, welcome to our Pharma Topics channel. Let us see about anti-hyperlipidemics. Before we enter into the chapter, let us see the transport of lipids, particularly the transport of cholesterol. So let us take this path as a blood vessel. So here the cholesterol is going to get transported. So with the help of a transporter, it gets transported and that is disposed with the help of the transporters. Suppose if the cholesterol level increases, what happens? So the workload on the transporter increases, even it spills the part of cholesterol on its way, which blocks the blood vessels, leads to deleterious effects such as heart attack, stroke, or other vascular problems. So that is partially handled by with the help of good cholesterol, which takes all the uh, spillages and helps in reducing the cholesterol levels, and that is HDL. So it's just an outline of the cholesterol transport. Let us see what are the lipids. One is chylomicron. It is rich in, it comes from the dietary source. It is very rich in triglycerides and has a very less amount of cholesterol esters along with apoproteins such as B48, A, C and E. And the next is the endogenous production of the lipid such as very low density lipoprotein. It is very similar to chylomicrons, but it has more amount, slightly more amount of cholesterol esters, and the proteins are different: apoprotein B100, C and E. The next is intermediate density lipoprotein. It is rich in cholesterol esters, and the most important is low density lipoprotein. It contains only cholesterol esters and it contains apoproteins B100. It is the most important lipoprotein which causes the coronary artery disease or arterial lipid disorders. And next is the chylomicron remnants or the balance of chylomicron digestion, which is rich in cholesterol esters. The next is high density lipoprotein. It is rich in cholesterol esters. It's the good cholesterol. It contains phospholipids and apoprotein A1, A2, CD, and E. Let us see what is dyslipidemia or hyperlipidemia. It is of six types: 1, 2A, 2B, 3, 4, and 5. The lipid fraction increased are different for different disorders. Chylomicrons are increased in type 1. LDL is increased in type 2A. VLDL along with LDL is increased in type 2B. Intermediate density lipoprotein and chylomicron remnants are increased in type 3. In type 4, VLDL is increased, and in type 5, VLDL and chylomicrons are increased. The name of these disorders are: type 1 is familial hyperchylomicronemia, 2A is familial hypercholesterolemia, 2B is mixed hyperlipidemia, 3 is familial dysbeta lipoproteinemia, type 4 is familial hypertriglyceridemia, and type 5 is mixed hypertriglyceridemia. The causes are mostly genetic. Type 2B and 4 are multifactorial in nature, which includes genetic reasons also. The occurrence is very common is type 2B, followed by type 2A and type 4. The others are rare or very rare and they are less common. The risk of atherosclerosis is more with 2A and 2B, followed by 3 and 4. Previously, there were no drugs for type 1. Now, two monoclonal antibodies are available, alirocumab and evolocumab. For monoclonal antibodies, a separate video has been available in my channel. You can refer that. Type 2A is treated with statins along with or without ezetimibe. 2B is treated with statins, fibrates or nicotinic acid. Type 3 is treated with fibrates, and type 4 with fibrates and nicotinic acid. There is no drug available for type 5. And there are other reasons for this dyslipidemia is secondary hyperlipoproteinemia caused by diabetes mellitus, alcoholism, chronic renal failure, hypothyroidism, or liver dysfunction. The drugs used are isotretinoin. These drugs may cause dyslipidemia. Isotretinoin used for acne can cause dyslipidemia. Tamoxifen, which is used for breast cancer. Cyclosporin, which is used for immunosuppression after a transplant. And HIV protease inhibitors can also cause dyslipidemia. Let us see the transport of lipids, which is of two kinds. One is exogenous pathway, which is the dietary pathway. From this, let us take we are taking a fatty food, and that enters into the GIT with the help of liver, with the help of bile juice and lipase enzymes. Chylomicrons are generated. With the help of villi, chylomicrons are absorbed, they enter the circulation, and these chylomicrons are utilized by the target tissues such as adipose tissue or the muscles such as skeletal muscle and cardiac muscles with the help of lipoprotein lipase, an important enzyme. The chylomicrons are reduced to chylomicron remnants. These chylomicron remnants are taken up back by the liver. Let us see the transport of lipids, which is endogenous, which is happening in us, in our body itself. So liver, it generates cholesterol, which is utilized for the production of bile acids, which enters the GAT for digestion of lipids. Chylomicron remnants and the cholesterol is also utilized for the production of or package of very low density lipoproteins, which releases it into the circulation, releases and it reaches the circulation. And the pathway is very similar as in the previous slide we have seen with chylomicrons. So lipoprotein lipases that digest take up the VLDL in the target tissues such as muscles, skeletal muscles and cardiac muscles and adipose tissues. Very low density lipoprotein is converted to intermediate density lipoprotein and low density lipoprotein. This LDL is useful for synthesis of steroidal and gonadal hormones and for the production of cell membranes. With the help of HDL, the excess cholesterol is taken back and redistributed to VLDL and LDL with the help of HDL by cholesterol ester transport protein. The LDL is also taken back by with the help of LDL receptors generated by the liver. If LDL secretion increases, it leads to atherosclerosis. Let us see the drugs in detail. First is statins. The statins, in the liver, the cholesterol is synthesized with the help of an enzyme, very important rate-limiting enzyme called HMG-CoA reductase. That is utilized for the production of bile acids and packing of VLDL that enters into the circulation, utilized by the target tissues, and then it releases the LDL. When it increases, it leads to atherosclerosis. Statins does three important things. First, it blocks the cholesterol biosynthesis in the liver. Next, since the cholesterol synthesis is reduced, it takes back the LDL with the help of generation of LDL receptors, and LDL, as we know, it is rich in cholesterol. And more importantly, the excess LDL is taken back from the blood circulation, and that is entering into the liver for the production of bile acids and VLDL production. This is the mechanism of action of statins. Let us see the statins pharmacological action. It causes competitive inhibition of HMG-CoA reductase. It's the most powerful LDL cholesterol reducer, but it also reduces triglycerides, IDL and VLDL. It treats type 2A and 2B dyslipidemias. Among these, lovastatin and simvastatin are prodrugs. All the cholesterol synthesis peaks at around 2 p.m. in the night. So, with the help of chronotherapy or chronopharmacology, all the statins can be administered by the evening or night such that it will have its chronopharmacological effect at 2 p.m. For chronopharmacology, also separate video is available. If you are interested, you can refer that. Atorvastatin, rosuvastatin are long acting. There is no need to administer them at particularly evening or night. They can be administered at any point of time during the day. But in routine practice, most of the physicians prefer administering at night. The adverse effects are myopathy at the earlier stages, which can lead to myositis and rhabdomyolysis, where it increases the creatinine kinase levels. And the most important toxicity, next toxicity is hepatotoxicity. The drug interactions are with CYP3A4 inhibitors because the statins are metabolized by CYP3A4. Erythromycin, itraconazole, and ritonavir can cause drug interaction and increase the toxicity of statins. Fluvastatin is metabolized by CYP2C9. The doctor may prefer in case of the drug interaction with CYP3A4 inhibitors. Pravastatin is a unique drug. It has minimum drug-food interactions. It has minimum risk of myopathy and it can minimize the fibrinogen levels. The next important drug is intestinal cholesterol absorption inhibitor. From the GIT, from the villi, the cholesterol is absorbed and in the blood vessels. When it increases, it leads to atherosclerosis. For this, an important transporter is present in the breast border of the villi, NPC1L1. This is inhibited by the acetamide, which gets absorbed and gets glucuronidated and concentrates in the villi, disrupts the complex of annexin 2 and caveolin 2 proteins, which decreases the fat and cholesterol absorption. It's a weak cholesterol reducer, so it is always combined with the statins. Adverse effects are minimal, the GI disturbances. The next drugs are lipoprotein lipase activators, particularly the fibrates. As we know, VLDL is utilized by the target tissues such as adipose tissue, skeletal muscle, and liver and the heart with the help of lipoprotein lipase. It is activated by the fibrates. The fibrates, the first generation fibrates are gemfibrozil, second generation fibrates are fenofibrate, which is a prodrug, and bezafibrate is also available. All these drugs, they cause a stimulation of PPAR alpha agonists that increases the expression of lipoprotein lipase. They decrease the expression of lipoprotein lipase inhibitors such as apolipoprotein C3 expression. They also increase the expression of apoproteins A1 and A2, which are very important in generation of HDL, and they also additionally increase the expression of LDL receptors. It can be used to treat in case of patients who are having high triglyceride levels. In case of patients who have high LDL levels, statins are preferable. For TGL levels, fibrates are preferable. It prevents pancreatitis. Adverse effects are epigastric distress and loose motion. And drug interactions, particularly with statins, they increase the risk of myopathy. A new drug is available which is approved in India for diabetic dyslipidemia because it is a novel PPAR alpha and PPAR gamma agonist. So they reduce the plasma glucose levels and additionally the lipids also reduced. Next is nicotinic acid, which is also called vitamin B3. It causes lipolysis and triglyceride synthesis inhibition. Let us see how this happens. In the adipose tissue, triglycerides are broken down into fatty acids, which is utilized by the liver for the generation of VLDL, which enters the circulation, utilized by the target tissues, and that gets degraded to IDL and LDL. When it increases, leads to atherosclerosis. This step is blocked by niacin, but for that, it needs higher doses when compared to the vitamin doses. They decrease the TGL and increase the HDL. Among all the drugs, HDL is increased maximum by the vitamin B3 or niacin or nicotinic acid. It binds to a G protein coupled receptor 109A in the adipose tissue. It causes inhibition of lipolysis in the adipose tissue. It treats type 2B and 3 and 4 disorders. The adverse effects are flushing because it's a cutaneous vasodilator, because it releases PGD2. It can be prevented by uh, uh, pre-treatment with aspirin or PGD2 uh, antagonist laroprint. It also causes a dryness and hyperpigmentation of skin, GI disorders such as dyspepsia, vomiting, and peptic ulcer disease. In liver, it causes hepatotoxicity and jaundice. It increases the uric acid levels, which is risky in case of gouty patients. It also disturbs the glucose levels, so hyperglycemia may occur. It has drug interactions with antihypertensives, which leads to postural hypotension, and it also increases the myopathy risk with the statins. The next important drugs are bile acid sequestrants. From the liver, bile acids are generated from cholesterol. They enter the GIT for the digestion of lipids, and they are taken back in the liver. It is called enterohepatic circulation. This step is blocked by the bile acid sequestrants such as cholestyramine, cholestyramine, and cholesavalum. So they increase the fecal elimination of bile acids and salts. Cholestyramine and cholestyramine are resins. They bind to uh, the bile acids. They are available as powders. They can be mixed with juice or available as chewable bar. Cholesavalum is a new drug which is available as tablets. Adverse effects are constipation and fecal impaction. The drug interactions are more importantly with digoxin, thyroxine, or warfarin. So it is preferable to administer the bile acid resins 2 hours before or after the administration of digoxin, thyroxine, or warfarin. Cholesavalum is a new drug which is having no drug interactions. Let us see the miscellaneous or the new drugs. One is Probocol, which is also an antioxidant. Gugulepid is developed by Central Drug Research Institute of India, and cholesterol ester triglyceride transport inhibitor anacetrapib is undergoing clinical trials. Other drugs have been withdrawn from the trials because of their adverse effects. Microsomal triglyceride transport inhibitor lomitapide. Mipomersen is an antisense oligonucleotide for ApoB, and proprotein convertase subtilisin Kexin type 9 inhibitors are new, which inhibit the destruction of LDL receptors. Alirocumab and evolocumab, the monoclonal antibodies, which are available now for type 1 disorders. A separate video is available for monoclonal antibodies, which also you can refer. And another new drug is avasimab, which is an inhibitor of acyl-CoA cholesterol, acyltransferase 1 inhibitor. So it's a short nutshell information of all the anti-hyperlipidemic drugs, the transport of cholesterol, and the type of dyslipidemias. I hope it will be useful for the students who are studying this unit. Thank you for listening. Happy learning. Kindly share this to more of your friends. Kindly encourage us by subscribing to our Pharma Topics channel. Thank you.